morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another installment of Flyera. Flyera, episode 55. We are having a good one today. We have now played officially 2 regular season games, and they both had similar results. Loss and loss. Although one was in overtime, and one we're going to be a little more pissed off than the other. But we'll get into that shortly. We're going to be going over the games just in general, positives and negatives, and what we think of talking in his lines just as a collective whole. As I stated, we got a good one. Jamey should be joining a little bit later, maybe for a limited amount of time. He is a little limited today, but me and Eric, and a little bit of Jamey, are going to be giving you an awesome episode today. As always, I am joined, as I just stated, by my awesome co-host, the man to my left, Mr. Eric Martino. Eric, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing all right. Could be better, but you know what? Que sera, and we got a couple games to talk about. Let's go.
All right, let's go right into these 2 games. Starts off with Florida. So we're going to go a little kind of mini game summary of each of these games. What I took from the Florida game is this is a team that ran into a team that just has more talent. Flat out, simple. First period, they were greatly outshot. It felt like, especially in the second half of that first period, the puck was more in that Florida offensive zone more times than not. But Dan Vladar, I will say he played very well in net. He looked very calm and collected, kept that game scoreless after 1. The Flyers had a few bits, but they were in the box a lot was the big issue in that first period. In that game in general. But yeah, Florida, I think they outshot the Flyers like 16 to 5 or something like that in the first period, something gross like that. But it was all Florida mainly in that first period. Second period comes along, the dam finally breaks. Florida jumps out to a 1-0 lead. I can't remember who scored the goal for them. I know who scored the second one, but I'm blanking on the first one for Florida. But the one thing I will say is the Flyers kind of played a little bit more stern of a defensive game as that period in game went along. They started finding their intangibles a bit before Noah Cates ends up burying his first goal of the year late in the first. The Forster Cates brink line, Faraby's gone, ends up looking like they haven't missed a beat from last season as they tie the game at 1. Third period comes along, a little bit of back and forth hockey before Brad Marchand just takes a rocket from what looked like the left side of the point and just beat Urson with was a near perfect shot. I mean, not Urson, Vladar with a near perfect shot. Not much Vladar could have done with that. And there was a little bit of a mini screen, 2-1 there. Flyers didn't really generate more than enough offense. The one thing I'll take from this game personally, penalty kill went 4 for 5, but they were in the box way too much, and that's going to be kind of the common theme of this episode, hence why it's called PKSD instead of PTSD, because in their first 2 games, they took 9 fucking penalties, and you can't do that. You can't expect to win many hockey games doing that. But they did go 4 for 5 in that game against Florida in the penalty kill, which is a positive. Vladar looked strong in net. The third line, as expected, looked pretty strong and consistent. Was definitely the Flyers' best line. But the one thing I want to point out is those other 2 top lines didn't do much for me. I don't understand why Tocchet paired Dvorak and Couturier with Michkov. You have two-way defensive first guys that pretty much eliminates any intangibles Michkov has. And Michkov took that first penalty first minute into the game. I think it was what was it, a hooking, if I remember correctly? Got sent to the box, and it kind of threw him off of his groove. He ended up with less than 15 minutes for the game. I played more in part in penalties than anything. And then even the second line, Zegras, Connect, you tip it. I didn't really understand that when you have 2 puck possession first guys and Owen Tippett and Trevor Zegras in the same line. And then the fourth line, there really wasn't much spark at all. Let's be honest here, Nick Deslauriers is not an NHL caliber player anymore. But my takes from that game personally, Dan Vladar looked strong. The defense kind of settled in from the second period on, took way too many penalties, and the lines just didn't feel that strong and consistent. Third line looked good. Everything else, not so much. How about you, Eric?
No, look, that Florida game, look, the way I see it is that, look, the Cates line for sure. The Cates line was spectacular that game. They dominated that game. The rest of the lines, the other 3 lines were like, I don't know, like dog shit. I'm sorry,
That's
like
a nice way to put it.
I was like, the brain was like spinning. I'm like, okay, what's a nicer way to say dog shit? But no, I'm
Just
sorry.
come out and say it. Because you're right.
That's what they were. And look, Vladar played an awesome game. Like he was solid. Like look, he put up a 941 save percentage. He had a 1 goal save above expected. He had
Mhm.
an incredible game. Some people will put that second goal on him, but personally, I don't.
I don't
Um,
either. I think that was a perfect shot. That's all I can really say.
Even Bush, the way he broke it down on the broadcast, basically, if you look at the play, Greer like literally times it perfectly. He gets right into Vladar's vision as Marchand takes the shot, so he can't properly get set, and it just goes right over his shoulder. So
To
look,
be honest, Eric, sorry to interrupt real quick. I just want to add one thing on that. To be honest, I probably would have put the first goal more on him than the second because I feel like he was slow to react to his far side post when he got beat on that shot. That second goal, I can't really blame him at all. I don't even really put the first goal on him that much, but if you
no,
have
me
to choose
neither.
between the two, it's probably the first one. But
Yeah, no, even the first, I don't know. Like, yeah, maybe could have got there a little quicker, but like it was just a real nice pass right open
yeah,
to fucking. It was Lundell that had the first goal.
Lindell, that's who it was.
Straight out, like he was wide open, took the shot, like no chance.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's it. Like that's honestly from that Florida game, and like you said too, like 5 penalties. Like, come on, guys, we got to clean that up, man. Like even like the second you guys get a little bit of momentum, then all of a sudden another penalty kills momentum again. But at
Mm-hmm.
least it's nice to see that like the PK is back up to snuff again. Like, well, look, we went 4 for 5. We did it. We killed them off, but like now we're playing with fire, right? We can't take 5 penalties a game. Like it's a bit ridiculous. So yeah, no, look, honestly, and just to say that like we were actually now granted, Florida was missing Barkov and Kachuk, so
Yeah.
but just the fact that we were able to hang with Florida and have only really one line and a goalie going and a couple defensemen. Because I have to say, like the defense, I'm gonna say in the past 2 games, I think Sanheim's been an absolute beast. Like he's
Absolutely. He's been
the
that
way
best
he's
no
oh
question.
easy hands down. He's been the best defenseman. I think he's just been he might have taken it to another level like so far.
Mhm.
Again, 2 games in, whatever. I think Drysdale's actually been really good, really solid.
Mhm.
What he's showing me right now is that like he needs a legit partner to play with because
Not Zamula.
yeah, there was a couple times where it's like either like because look at the end of the day, like a guy will make a mistake every once in a while, regardless of who you are. And there was a couple times where it's like trying to get out of his mistake, he made a pass to his partner, which was I think Zamula at the time, and then it's like Zamula turns the puck over or like doesn't cradle it properly, and anyway the play
Mhm.
breaks down, and you're like, and there was a couple times where he found, I think it was Ginning or something. I don't remember who it was that was with him at that point, but he finds him in like a beautiful spot, and it's like, what do you want that guy to do with the puck? Like it's not his game. Anyway, so no, I think those two have been really solid. Nick Seeler too has been really well. He's played really well. Played with paired with Sanheim so far. But no, look, those are out of that game. Those are kind of the positives I came out with. And
Mhm.
look, it wasn't a terrible game. It was a close game, but I thought they played better in the second
Yeah,
game.
for sure, for sure. The first game, like I said, that game could have been much worse if Dan Vladar doesn't play as well as he does in net. And that the wheels could have came off easily in that first period with how much Florida dominated. But
Oh yeah.
really, at the end of the day, I watched that game and it just made me think, like, what did Tocchet see in these lines to put them together to lead into
Oh,
that first game?
oh,
I was just flabbergasted, especially when a lot of it just seemed like outside of maybe Zegras and Konechny, a lot of it were pairing guys with guys that didn't play as much within the preseason. So second game comes along and we have a little bit better lines. You put the Mitchkov, Konechny,
mm.
Couturier line back together, which is nice. Although this time Konechny's now on the left and Mitchkov's on the right. That kind of surprised me because Anthony DeMarco came out and said, I believe in a tweet, that Konechny will not play the left side. So to see that
But
was a little
sorry,
surprising.
just quick. Didn't Konechny play the left last year too when they had that line together?
No,
Or was it
Konechny was on
Michkov?
the right. Michkov was on the left
Yeah,
last year.
I don't know why I remember Konechny on the left. Okay,
Yeah, they had Konechny as on the right side last year. But that's why it kind of threw me off a little bit. So, and then they kept Zegras and Tippett together. And I will say they did play better in the second game. But they put Tippett, Zegras, and Dvorak. That one kind of made a little more sense because at least you have a two-way guy with them. But I still don't want to see Zegras and Tippett together, though I will say Tippett, let's go into that second game, played much better in the second game compared to the first, for sure. And a lot of the guys did. End of the day, actually, we have Mr. Baskow here. Let me, before I go on this rant, let's bring in Mr. Jamey Baskow. Jamey, how you doing today, brother?
Yeah. Surviving, but aloha mahalo.
Aloha, mahalo indeed.
We had about a hand-foot mouth last weekend, and then it went from Noah to Dylan, so it was a combination. Now we have a bout of a stomach bug. He had football yesterday, was fine. He came home, we played, we had Kelly's family over, everybody, everything was fine. And then this past night, of course, like 3-4 in the morning, then it hit.
I know that feeling, especially the stomach bug. You just got to run its course. It takes 24 to 48 hours. It'll be good by Monday or Tuesday. It needs to relax.
You never know with these kiddos, man. It goes from one to the next, and then the next one, projectiles are coming out.
I think it's going around because my son Luciano had Friday into Saturday night, woke up 2 a.m. I was like, oh, great. And then, like, on the way, he had hockey yesterday afternoon. And then my wife had to pull him off the ice because he's like, Ma, I can't do it. Like, I'm not feeling well. And then he puked in my wife's car.
And then he's like, put me back in.
Yeah, right. I got it out of me. Let's go run the some rushes again. But, so, Jamey, we were just about to transition to the Carolina game. So what I was saying when you jumped in, Carolina game, we would talk about the Florida game, how we hated the lines. The penalty kill played solid despite being out there as much as they did. Terrible first period, but Vladar stood strong before they kind of led into a good second. Then, and as I mentioned, the lines kind of were jumbled to a better, not a lot better, but a better setup than what we had.
Yeah.
First period comes along, and we're right back to the same thing. Penalties. 3 penalties in the first period. They could not stay out of the damn box. They went 3 for 3 on the kill, which is positive, but just consistently in the box for that third penalty was garbage, mind you. But besides the point, kept finding their way into the box. Second, good thing is they got a power play in themselves late in the first before Owen Tippett slammed in that tap-in off of, coincidentally not a shot by, I think it was Konechny off the boards that landed right on Tippett's stick for a half-empty net. Tied the early 1-0 lead. Back and forth second period where Carolina ends up outscoring them 3-1, but pace-wise, I felt like it was back and forth. And once again, the Cates, Brink, Forster line was fantastic. They were generating opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And I've got to say, even without that friggin' goal that he scored in overtime, which we'll get to, that was disallowed, Bobby Brink and Noah Cates both look like they have taken another step this year, at least in these first 2 games. They have been, in my opinion, the 2 best Flyers forwards up to this point. They have both looked excellent. Brink looks like he's playing hard, beating people to pucks, using his body, and he has a motor that doesn't stop. And Noah Cates' 2-way game looks like it's elevated to yet another level.
Yeah.
This might be a little premature, but I'm seeing flashes of Sean Couturier in his prime. Not quite that, but he like flashes of what you saw of prime Couturier and Noah Cates. But they both looked excellent. That second period, as I mentioned, back and forth hockey a little bit before Carolina potted 3. Flyers had quite a few opportunities that just couldn't feel like they could bury. They did get one that period off of a beautiful snipe by, Bobby Brink. Before they moved into the third period, Michkov fed Konechny to 2 possible really good chances. One on a breakaway, one on that one-timer off the boards. Neither of them, unfortunately, could get buried. Third period comes along, 3-2 the whole time before, I think it was, funny enough, Bobby Brink that fed Travis Sanheim that blast of a one-timer to tie the game at 3. And then we hit the overtime, and Controversy strikes. So let's go over the game, and then we'll talk about the craziness of that called back overtime goal. Jamey, let me start with you. What did you think of the Carolina game?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought they hung right there with them. What we saw, my biggest takeaway from the game is that the Flyers have gotten great goaltending from both Sam Ersson and Dan Vladar, and I think that's a huge positive moving forward. I mean, the stat watchers are going to say Sam Ersson allowed 4 goals. Yes, he did. But in the same token, they didn't see the amount that he was being peppered after the first period. They had like 13, 14 shots on net to the Flyers, like 3. I mean, they were highly outplayed in that first. I mean, to no one's shockingness, right? I mean, everyone knew that Carolina is a cup contender. Everyone knows that Florida is also a cup contender. So these things are actually going to happen. But that's my biggest takeaway. Now, I thought you're right. Bobby Brink was phenomenal. One player that you didn't mention, I think needs to get mentioned, is Nikita Krepkin. In the amount of the low minutes that he played, he only played about 9 minutes. But man, there were some good freaking 9 minutes there. Damn, he just was relentless with the puck like Bobby Brink. He got into those areas that we haven't seen Flyers forwards get into in a long time. You know, the dirty areas, making plays, ticky tack. I mean, there was one play he like shouldered his body. He was like skinny as a rail and got through two defenders and had a nice shot on net. And I was like, okay. When the heck was the last time we seen a Flyers forward do that? Minus Michkov, so that was great to see other than Michkov. Now, the other takeaway I got is that he's still going to have to tinker with lines, to get some chemistry going. I would go back to the Grabeckin, to me, earned more minutes than, Bobby Brink, Tyson Forster, and the Cates line. I'd stick together. And you're right. I don't think it's premature about Noah Cates. Circling back to that, since we're talking Noah Cates, no, it's not premature as Sean Couturier. I've been saying it for a few years. His offense just hasn't been there like the Sean Couturier, right? But in the same token, Sean Couturier, if we circle back to Couturier's career, he didn't start finding his groove until the 2015 season, to where he was finding himself offensively. So this aligns with what Sean Couturier was doing. I think he's finally found his niche. Remember, a lot of Flyers fans were, not a lot, but there were some Flyers fans, you might as well trade Sean Couturier because he'll never amount to be put in that offensive production. How often did we hear that? We heard that a lot. And then the Flyers held on to him until the 2015 season, 4 years now into his career, and he started to find his niche. I think you're starting to see that with Casey. And Brink is, you're right. Brink's just taken off. He's relentless with the puck. But I think that I would go back to Grabeckin, Coots, Michkov from what excelled in the preseason. Then I would go Tippett, Zegras, Konechny, Forster, Cates, Brink. And then on the fourth line, I would have Dvorak, Luchenko, and Hathaway. I thought Luchenko started to find his groove there late, finally, with the amount of minutes that he was getting. It took him a little bit. And I think that he's still trying to find himself in the NHL anyway. So you're going to get that little shakiness and consistencies in his game. But it was nice to see him come back with a few last good shifts that he had and really put together really some good shifts there. I think that's a positive also moving forward. But one negative, I'm going to tell you, you can't expect Sam Ersson and Dan Vladar to continue to stand on their heads. Like the defense is just a mess. I'm going to be honest. Minus Sanheim and Drysdale, I thought Drysdale had a very good game. Drysdale was, you never want to hear his name, but you're going to have to because they're the only 2 defensemen right now. I thought Nick Seeler played okay, but I mean, just the bottom pairing is a mess. And that was my initial fear, like coming into the season. I think we're seeing it. The defense just they have to limit shots on net. There's no way Dan Vladar and Sam Ersson can fight. I mean, Carolina had 31 shots through 2 periods or something like that. It's just or something somewhere's around there, like 29, 31 or something. It's just unsustainable. And part of it is due to the penalties. I mean, they just cannot continue. When you're down, when you have a bottom pairing defense pairing, like you do, you're giving them more ammunition if you continue to take penalty after penalty because the bottom pairing just isn't good at all. I thought Zamula had a bad game. I mean, it was turnover again, just a horrific penalty that he took in the first period that could have been costly with Carolina. You never want to give that type of team More, I mean, that was a horrible trip. It was a trip for no reason. It was a right call. That's what I'm saying. It was just a terrible trip, like laziness with his stick, and I'm like, wow, okay. This is what, year 4, year 5 of Zamula, and we're still tripping guys like this. You can't just give a team like that more ammunition, and eventually I thought Gossesbear had an amazing game yesterday. I hate to say it, former Flyer, but I thought he was amazing. I actually saw a ghost that, like, man, I'm telling you, it was something that we didn't see in Philly, that's for sure. Man, damn, he looked good yesterday. Although, he produces offensively, but I thought defensively, I thought he was phenomenal. I'm like, damn, who is this guy? But but there's a lot good to take away, but there's also some bad parts to take away. But it's a hard measuring stick. This is why I'm trying to tell Flyers fans to be patient, because it's a hard measuring stick when you're playing 2 cup contenders back to back, and now you're going to circle back and play another cup contender tomorrow. In the Florida Panthers again with the home opener. That's why I was telling, and you guys, we all talked about it. This first month of the schedule is just brutal. I mean, so it's a hard measuring stick, I'd say, but there's some positives to take away. The goaltending, Bobby Brink, that whole line there, Casey. There are some concerns with Mitchkov, and his limited ice time, but the limited ice time, like you said, Alex, in the chat, that could be because of penalties, and stuff. And just he doesn't look the same. He doesn't have that same finesse or pop that he did last year, where he was hungry through the first 5 games. He just doesn't look as hungry. It's hard to say that, to put the sole blame on Tocchet for trying to go to that North style. Maybe he's can't communicate with Tocchet. Maybe there's a whole big thing. Like he knows part of the English language, but he's not fluent in the English language. So some of the languages that Tocchet is maybe using, maybe it's not getting across. You know what I mean? There's a whole big thing. I think he's in his head. Flyer fans, we're just going to have to be patient is what I'm saying. The points will come for Mitchkov. TK looks good again. He had a really good goal yesterday. I thought that was a good goal. So, I mean, they're getting quality goaltending right now. So that's a big, big bonus, and Eric, you hit the nail on the head with Dan Vladar. Damn, he's good.
I do want to add 1 or 2 other things before we move on to Eric's points. One, Nikita Grabenkin, what really stands out about me with his game, he is a board battler. That's the thing that really stands out. He wins those. You mentioned how he battles for pucks. It's just his board play that really stands out. You haven't seen much of that from this core because they lack so much size. But Grabenkin loves going into those dirty areas just as a collective whole. I love that about him. And Mitchkov, I'm a little worried, but not super worried. I think everything should be fine. He needs one breakout game, and he'll find his confidence in groove again. He had a bad game yesterday. I don't think there's any denying it. I think game 1, his ice time was limited because they took 5 penalties. This one they took 4, and he made as me and Eric mentioned, made a really sloppy turnover late in the 3rd period that led him to get no overtime shifts. And you know what? I usually would be on the coach for that, but for this, I kind of get it because he just had a rough game. Outside of those 2 good passes to connecting, he really did not have one of his best games. But I feel confident he'll find his game. I do. I think it just takes one really good game, and he'll click again. Eric, how about you? What do you think of the Carolina game?
Sophomore jinx. That's all I want to say.
Oh, shush.
Listen, Demi Doff is the worst player in the NHL, please.
I agree. No, listen, Jamey, I agree because you're never wrong. I agree.
Oh, I'm wrong. Trust me, man. Just ask the boss. Just ask the boss.
Oh, boy.
No, the Carolina game, you know what? I actually thought the Flyers played really, really well in this game. Look, the first period, again, the penalties started creeping in again. We took 3 penalties. We got the 3 first penalties, plus you had the Hathaway, you had the coincidental minor with the other guy there, both for fighting or roughing or whatever it was. But second period, it sucks because we technically got outscored 3-1 in that period. But I thought the second period, the Flyers really dominated that period. And it goes back to like Jamey's point and stuff that we've brought up also. It's like, it's the defense, man. That third pair and Zamula, like that stall goal, like the third one. Yinning was just puck watching, did not have his man behind him, and it was a free goal for Jordan Staal.
Yeah.
So it's little things like that where you're like, and then like another one, I think we got caught on transition, like we just kind of got the puck out 2-on-1. There you go, like. So look, there's a lot of things I'm encouraged about. Like honestly, the Zegras line, the Dvorak, Zegras, and Tippett line. Like I was looking at like the underlying numbers. They were actually by the numbers the Flyers' best line last night. And honestly, I saw it. Even with my eyes, I'm like,
no, I didn't know that.
As good as the Cates line looked last night, also that Zegras line was really buzzing. Like Tippett, I thought had a couple really good chances with Zegras as well. I thought they were building some real nice chemistry. And you have Dvorak on that line doing all the dirty work. And that's why the first game I didn't understand why they had Dvorak and Couturier together, because it made no sense having two guys like that playing with Mishkov. So that's why with these lines here, I found it was a little bit more balanced. Plus, like you said too, Grabenkin was a terror last night. He was just all over the place causing havoc. And honestly, look, Luchenko, like. It's funny because I was watching the game. I'm like, okay, I think he's having like a decent game. He's having a good game. He's all right. I was looking at the numbers on Money Puck this morning, and I'm like, he actually had some of the best possession numbers on the team, Luchenko. I was like, what the fuck? I really didn't expect to see that, but I'm like,
he played less than 8 minutes too. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah. But at least when, like, look, he had that one giveaway there where it's like he made like this errant pass and then led to a goal. So it's like, but again, it's a rookie mistake. He's a rookie. He's fucking 19 years old. Like, it's gonna happen. He's learning on the job is basically what's happening right now. So, like, but other than that, I thought Luchenko had a really good game. And so for me, it actually bodes well because look, we have, if that's going to be the fourth line, let's say for the time being of Luchenko, Grabenkin, and Hathaway, which I thought played really well. And then you have the Cates line. Now you have Zegras with Dvorak and Tippett, which works. If we could get that first line going, like, yeah, look, Michkov had a bad game, but like, whatever. TK2, I'm actually really concerned with Couturier because
I am too. I'm glad you brought that up. He looks off right now.
I was gonna mention that in like in the next segment, but I'm gonna say it now. He is not looking good. His numbers are not good. Like his underlying numbers are not good. The only thing that's a positive in his stats is his face-off percentage. So, okay. But that's going to, like, look, 2 games. It's 2 games. Let's, like, but let's give it a few more. But if this continues, it could really start becoming concerning now. So, we'll see. But, like, no, but, like, Urson played really, really well. He had, look, his save percentage was under 900. It was an 897, which, okay, whatever. You're there, but he had a 1.87 goals saved above average.
Yeah.
So just keep in mind, last year he was like minus 20, like something stupid like that. So no, I thought Urson really played well. I think the lines are finally starting to like come along. Again, guys, we just have to like bide our time until like York and Risto come back. Because I don't see Danny making a trade like in the next 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna have to bite the bullet and look. If in the next game or two that this continues with the defense, I would hope and I wouldn't be shocked if maybe Andre gets a call up and be like, we can't ride with these guys. Like we can't.
He should. Yeah, he should already be on his way to Philly right now.
Honestly, look, Yinning I think has been okay. I don't think he's been terrible. I think he's been okay. Julesing and Zamula, on the other hand,
black hole,
like, rough. And you know what? Like, I'll admit it. I've been a Zamula defender in the past. I'm like, okay, he's not as bad as people think. Okay, it's blown out of proportion. Blah 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 blah. I'm sorry, I just can't defend him anymore. I just can't do it. I can't. Like, I'm starting to be like done with this guy. Like, get him off the ice. Give a kid that actually has a chance to be something, an actual chance. Play them, because this is getting a little bit out of hand now.
So some Zamula lowlights from last
trip.
He took the penalty, and there was I can't remember which goal it was. There was a cross crease pass that he comes and tries sliding on the body to break up the pass, and he somehow misses the puck.
That was the Stan Coven goal.
Yeah, that was the Stan Coven goal.
That was right before the end of the period. Yeah.
To try to block the puck that way and miss.
Yeah.
He is constantly out of position. He's like a fish out of water. The guy's just flopping everywhere. It's just been he's never in the right position, and he just seems like he always just makes a bad brain lapse gaffe consistently. Like, this guy is a black hole. Juleson too. They put Drysdale with Zamula to start the game. I don't think it finished that way, because I do think they mushed around with the second and third line. I think they went back to Drysdale and Ginning at some point. But they started with Drysdale and Zamula. And I'm just thinking to myself, how are you going to expect a guy like Jamey Drysdale to take the next step in his progression when he's got a black hole of a line? Like, what are you supposed to do with that? You need to, at the bare minimum, give him Nick Seeler again. I don't want to friggin' throw Sanheim to the woodworks, but as you mentioned, Eric, Ginning has been okay. If you got to, at least until York's back, which looks like it might be sometime next week. I heard a report that there is a probability from Charlie O'Connor that he could be back from the Florida game, but we'll see. If he's not, I have a feeling it'll be sometime next week. If you want to try even Sanheim Ginning, at least temporarily, just to see how it works, it sucks because you're still going to have that black hole of a third pairing. But at least try that, and then, God, please just bring Andre up, and then run with Andre and maybe run with Andre and Juleson, or even Andre and Gilbert. Like, it can't be. Gilbert can't be any worse than Juleson or Zamula.
No.
With what we've seen so far, Gilbert can't be any worse than those two.
He might actually play tomorrow when you think about it. I mean, Tocchet seems that he wants to have righty-lefty. Yeah. You know what I mean? He could very well get in there and see some time tomorrow, because he said that no one, again, he mentioned it, no one is grabbing that, last spot by the bullhorn there, and so, yeah, he's going to continue to tinker. That's why I say it's better now to call up Andre.
Mm-hmm.
But if York is going to come back and play tomorrow, then there's no need for Andre.
Yeah, it's just confusion, really, at the end of the day. I don't understand why they felt the need to not give Gilbert his chance. Gilbert and Andre chances until now. I'm not crazy about Gilbert, but as I just mentioned, he's got to be better than those two guys. Any final thoughts on these first two games before we move on to the positives and negatives?
Well, just to touch a little bit on Gilbert, like, I honestly, even during preseason, I thought he was better than Zamula and Juleson. Like, in every preseason game I watched and every whatever, like, and even like reading some things, I was honestly shocked that he's the one that got waived. And I just that's all. Like, I'm just like, he should be like, take some. If York is not ready, take Zamula out and put in Gilbert. Like, honestly, like, how much worse is it going to get? Like,
that's one thing about Flyers fans right now that Tocchet's getting a lot of criticism for, is that he has his guys. Like Juleson, he's familiar with Juleson. They played, he played in Vancouver. When Tocchet was a head coach there. That's why he's still here. You know what I mean? And so that familiarity right there alone. Same thing with Christian Dvorak, but Dvorak is at least giving the team positive minutes, whereas Juleson's just horrible. So yeah, I agree with you. But he's going to give Juleson, I hate to say this, man, he's going to have to make him an unbeliever, because he is helping with that familiarity, I think, with the team, at least to hone down the Flyer systems, say at practice or something like that. He must be instrumental there. You know what I mean? So I think that's why he's getting, in the same token, it's getting Tocchet some early criticisms that he's becoming Torts-esque. Because, like, there are some things that people are starting to see similar that he's doing that, John Tortorella was doing. You know what I mean? So, but I don't think 2 games is fair enough to judge a guy. Although, it's understandable to have some early concerns, I guess. But, we'll have to see how it is. But yeah, I think Gilbert definitely earns a spot in the Flyers home opener tomorrow, especially if Cam York is out of the lineup. You have to at least give him a shot. He's giving everybody else a shot here in terms of Yinning, in terms of Zamula, in terms of Noel Juleson. Why not Gilbert? But the one thing I wanted to say, and I wonder if that played in his mind, the day before he got hit with the puck in the foot during practice. And I don't know, he was taken off the ice, there temporarily, although he did come back and finish practice. I wonder if that played in his, decision-making there to not play Gilbert last night and maybe give him, okay, we have Saturday's game, then give him 2 days off. And then, because today they have a day off, obviously, for travel. Coming back for the home opener tomorrow, they'll have a morning skate. And I wonder if that played in his decision-making. Maybe Gilbert does play tomorrow. And that would give him 2 extra days and make sure his foot was okay and not, swollen and stuff.
Fair enough. I want to give you one last thing on Tocchet before we move on to our next points. A comparison that was just mentioned, Tocchet has kind of been Torts-esque. I got a different comp. He's reminding me of Dave Hackstall with his love for Reds. Remember Dave Hackstall with his love for Chris Vandevelde and Brandon Manning and friggin' McDonald? Like guys like that, just seeing them play constantly. Dale Weiss, that's what I'm seeing with Tocchet with Juleson. And as you mentioned, at least at Dvorak, there's something there. He's limited offensively, but he provides a half-decent two-way game, and it's good in the face-off dot.
Yes.
But Juleson is his Brandon Manning. Juleson is his Chris Vandevelde. Like, that's what I'm seeing with him. Like, we can't do this again. I can't do another Dave Hackstall type of love fest for his pets. If that happens, I'm going to pull my damn hair out. Anyone who knows me and has followed me on social media, there is no coach I hated on the planet more than Dave Hackstall with the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah.
If that happens again, you'll see me driving off the nearest cliff. But any day, not to take it.
You hear Rick in the background there?
He's probably laughing.
He is.
Definitely.
But anyway, let's move on to our positives and negatives. So, Eric, let me start this one with you. Give me some positive and negatives from these first 2 games just as a collective whole.
Okay, well, this is going to be a positive and a negative.
Mm-hmm.
Penalties and power and penalty kill. Negative penalties. Too many penalties. Now, granted, game 2 against Carolina, they only took 1 penalty after the first period. So maybe we got something going here. I don't know. We'll wait and see. But at least the PK only allowed 1 goal in 2 games on technically 9 attempts. 1 goal on 9 attempts. And again, we played 2 really good teams. So 2 pretty decent power plays. So that's definitely a positive and a negative. Another positive, like I mentioned, I think that the lines, like the Dvorak Zegras Tippett line, positive. I think we got something here, and like you saw, Devo would take the important face-off. Zegras would just line up on the wing, but then they would switch position. Perfect. That's beautiful. At least you not that you're guaranteed possession, but like the guy's over 50% in the face-off dot, so at least you got your chances on your side. So I love, that's a big positive. I love the chemistry that's coming out from that line. Obviously, the Cates line, massive positive. Gurbankin with Luchenko, another massive positive. I thought they played really well last night in limited time. Negative, again, like I said, that fucking defense, man. Other than Sanheim and Drysdale and Sealer, like it's gonna be a waiting game until those guys are healthy again, until York and Risto are back. So okay, and another positive, like let's say the goaltending, like the goaltending is up to par. It seems like I don't think in those 2 games, I don't think either one of them let in a weak goal. Like, so all of them had, and both, even Urson and Vladar, had goals above saved expected. So again, like it looks like the goaltending might actually be something. So like, if if we can get our defense going, if we can get our defense healthy, and with the lines that we have, maybe maybe we could actually maybe do some damage like later on. One more negative, like again, like I mentioned, Couturier. It's concerning. It's concerning because at that point, like if this continues, okay, like let's say because I like to view things in 10-game segments. So like again, like I said, 2 games. But I like to think that you have to show me out of 10 games, you have to show me 7 good with only 3 bad. Like I'll give you that. I'll give you 73. I'll give you 7-3. Couture's at 2 bad already. So that it's concerning because now like legit, if he can't handle those first line minutes, then what do you do? Like it's not like you could bump up. It's not like it's too much to ask Luchanko. Oh, here, Luchanko, go be the first line center.
Yep.
So, like, I don't know, like, because now, honestly, and like I've joked about this in the past, but like Noah Cates, 1C Noah Cates, that's what it's looking like, man. Like, it's looking like that's our top line right now. Like after 2 games, that's our top line. And hopefully, maybe like if the league sees what's going on, so now coaches are gonna have to start matching up against Cates' line better. So maybe that'll free up Coots' line and give them like a little bit more space, like against weaker competition. Maybe, I don't know if that's gonna be the case, but like, yeah, hopefully Coots could get going, and like Cates is showing that, like, you know what, man, he's legit.
Like the breakdown. How about you, Jamey?
Some positive. Noah Cates, Bobby Brink, just absolutely phenomenal. Both. I think they're most consistent forwards, along with Tyson Forrester there. Just that whole line, they're just phenomenal. Bobby Brink is obviously taking the next step. I can't believe that people just continue to want to trade this guy. But like I understand in terms of the logjam on the wing, but they got to figure out, who to trade. Definitely Bobby Brink is making a name. He's becoming that guy for in the NHL. Same thing with Noah Cates. I'm glad at how patient the organization has been with him, because we've seen flashes of him in the past. At times last year he's been inconsistent and then started to find his groove, when he went to the Forrester, Brink line. But another huge positive, the goaltending. The goaltending's been, I think, phenomenal. I think you're getting really good goaltending from Vladar and Sam Ersson. Anybody that watched the game last night knows that Sam Ersson actually put a quality game together and actually played very well. Another one I think that needs a huge mention is Travis Sanheim. The guy's playing like 30 minutes a night out there.
Stole my
for
thunder.
good reasons. I'm going to keep it real. Like Travis Sanheim has definitely taken the next step. He should be in the Norris, conversation here. I know it's only two games, but he is damn good, and he's proven it out there. I mean, like I said, he has no other choice but to play 30-plus minutes a night. Especially due to the injury to Yorkie, and stuff like that. This kid is just doing everything in his power to take the team on his back. I'm happy as hell he got that A. He's rightfully deserving of that A, but he is damn sure the NHL needs to start taking a look at Travis Sanheim and how good he freaking is. I'm tired of him, being the whipping boy around here, like when the team starts to falter, oh, it's Sanheim. No, Travis Sanheim has been very, very good. And, good for him. Good for him to stick with it. He's making that name for the Olympics. The kid, I know it's only two games, but damn, he's freaking good, man. I'm happy as hell he's on the Flyers, rightfully so. Imagine if they didn't have a Sanheim. Who would be your top defenseman? Jamie Drysdale, maybe Nick Sealer? I mean, you know what I mean? Let's just think about that. Yeah. Like right now, like he's been that good that he's turning into that 1A. If he continues this up, I'm going to be honest, I have no doubts in my mind. All they need is like a 1B. But he's turning into that 1A these past 2 games here. He's done some stuff like offensively and defensively. The one good thing about him, you don't know how hard he's skating. because he's just like, to me, he's like coasting back. That's how good of a skater he's been. Like, man, he covers ground like no other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, negatives. Again, this is like, we're beating the drum here. The bottom pairing D is just brutal. Zamula has been horrific. Noah Juleson's not far behind him. That tripping call last night, that tripping penalty with Zamula, that looks like a rookie-esque, move, or not even. That looks like an amateur. I don't know. That's not even AHL or there. I hate to say it. That tripping call was hard. That was a terrible trip. I'm going to be honest. That's something that probably my son would do. That was bad, man. Like that was. I was like, of course, and of course it got called. But that was a no-brainer. But that bottom pairing has just been bad. And like you mentioned, Sean Couturier, I think that it's hard to measure Coots right now because he's been tinkering with the lines, rightfully so, right? That's why I'm not like – I am concerned, but not – I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt here because they're still trying to figure out their top line, what would be their top line, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm looking and I'm like, okay – on one hand, is Mitchkov being held back because Coots just looks slow this year? He just doesn't have that pop, like what happened to preseason Coots? Like is me because he looked pretty solid in the preseason, like speed wise, but he just looks like you said. I mean, he just looks sluggish, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It is a bit worrisome. From a Flyers fan standpoint, they're like, oh, here it goes again, but I don't know. And another negative, I'd say Tocchet has to figure out how to get Mitchkov more ice time. I think that is massive. I mean, there's no way he should be playing 13 minutes a night. I understand the turnover. I get it. I get it. You know what I mean? With Torts, would he have benched, Mitchkov at that point? Because that was sort of like a benching. He didn't play in the overtime period. You know what I mean? The overtime session. That was like his last shift of the game, right? You know what I mean? Although it's not qualifying as a bench, is it though? You know what I mean? So you got to figure out how to get him more ice time. I mean, I understand the penalties. I get it. Or they committed 4 penalties. That's 8 minutes. Mitchkov should be playing, close to 18 minutes a night, 16 to 18, not 13. I think that hinders the Flyers a bit. That takes, I can't tell you. I was watching the Canes feed here, and they said how dynamic of a player Mitchkov, has been. You take that dynamic ability out of the lineup, it sort of favors Carolina at that point. You know what I mean? So they got to figure out a way to balance his minutes to get him more minutes somehow, as opposed to 13 minutes, just my personal opinion early. Now, again, I'm not criticizing Rick Tocchet. That's not a criticism. It's just what I'm saying is just a concern. It's only been 2 games. I just want to make that. I'm not a Tocchet hater. You know what I mean? He obviously has more insight. Obviously, he's the head coach of this team. He knows his team. At this point, he knows some of the players. That's just not even a criticism. It's just an early take, I'd say. But I did want to make this known. Another positive, Quinn Hughes will be a Flyer at the trade deadline.
Holy crap. You're getting me a little excited now.
You had me there for a second. I
have another theory, but I'll bring it up at the end.
That's not a joke, man. I'm convinced he will be a Flyer by the trade deadline.
Oh, my God. Jamey, sound the alarm.
I have another guy. I have another guy that I'm going to bring up, but I'll bring it up at the end of the show.
When you
So that's a massive positive.
All right. I'll be pretty quick on this. Positives. I'm going to give a name that no one has mentioned yet. Trevor Zegras. I like what he's shown these first 2 games. I think one thing that I've seen with him is he knows how to enter the zone with the puck. And I feel like he has felt comfortable with Tippett so far in general. I was a little nervous, and I will say I still wouldn't keep Zegras and Tippett on the line together long term because they're guys who need to control the puck and enter the zone with it. That's both of their fortes. Whereas Zegras is more of a puck facilitator and Tippett's a shot first guy. So I guess that's probably Tochet's way of looking at this a little bit. But I feel like that Zegras has made some good plays at the puck. He has felt confident. No one mentioned this yet. He had the second most minutes last night. The only guy I think who had more for forwards, at least, not for everyone, but for forwards, I think was Couturier, if I remember correctly. He's quite a bit of ice time. But yeah, he had over 19 minutes. So Tocchet obviously sees something in Zegras. He picked up his first point as a Flyer last night on that power play goal in the first period. So that was a little positive to see. Jamey kind of stole my thunder. Travis Sanheim has been excellent. 27 minutes game one, 29 and a half minutes game two. Mind you, he had an extra 4-ish minutes in overtime, but still, that's fantastic. He looks great back there. He's been a guy who's been a stone cold lock on the defense, at least in these first two games. Now, obviously, you can't keep running him that many minutes every single night. You're going to run him into the ground. But at least for the short term, I understand why doing it. Hopefully York is back Monday. If not, by the latest Thursday. He should be back very soon, so that should take a little bit of pressure off of him to get him a good line mate. And the ripple effect should get one of these two black holes out of the lineup, hopefully. That's number one. Another positive, just to reiterate off of you guys, Noah Cates and Bobby Brink have been the two best Flyers so far. Forster's been good too, but those two specifically have been excellent in these first two games. Brink looks like he's taken another step offensively. Cates looks like a lockdown two-way machine who was generating opportunities in front of the net constantly. He scored a goal in that first game. He had a few really good bids in that the second period of last night's game. Brink realistically should have 4 points already this season, but, we're not allowed nice things apparently. 3 points. I'm sorry. That's right. He did not get a point in the first game. That was Forster who got the assist. But, yeah, negatives. I will say Michkov has not been good these first two games. More the second game than the first. I felt the first, he got hindered by bad line mates, 5 penalties. It was a mixture of things. But the second game, outside of a few good passes to connect me in the second period, he really didn't feel like he was playing his best. He didn't have the burst that we see from Michkov. And I hope he's not overthinking things. I hope Tocchet just says, listen, be you. Be great. Be the Matvei Michkov that we saw in our rookie year and take that next step in your progression. I don't want to make it feel like that I'm holding you back. Be your get best. Play your game. I don't know. I don't think the language barrier is as bad as it was. He seems like he's picking up the English language a little bit better now for sure. So that's a major positive. Other negatives, again, to reiterate off of you guys. Zamula, black hole. Juleson, black hole. Another positive to mention, I'm sorry, I don't want to leave them out of this. Vladar and Urson were both very good. I'd give more of an edge to Vladar, but Urson played solid in that game against Carolina. They both were thumbs up, especially with the decor that they had in front of them. Another negative, that's realistically probably it. It's just, Sean Couturier, obviously, too. Like, we've both been hammering that drum all day. He looks slow. Is what it is. He looks slower than even for Coots standards because Coots is never a good skater. His game is off of his high IQ, his face-off, and his two-way game, but he looks very slow even from Couturier's perspective. Like you mentioned, Eric, give him a little more time and see what happens, but we might be seeing bottom six Coots if this continues to be a trend. We'll give him – I'll give him until the end of the month to see how he goes, but again, if he continues this, bottom six Coots might be a thing. And it may lead to an eventual breakup of that third line. Not to say they're playing bad. They're playing they're playing fantastic. It's been their best line. But just to spread some of the talent out a little bit. Like, even if you move one of them up, maybe, like you said, Eric, 1C Noah Cates may become a real thing. I wonder how a Konechny Cates Michkov line would look. And maybe move Couturier down to the third line with Forster and Brink. I hope not, but I wonder if it is a possibility. Anything else you want to add before we move on to Tocchet's line combinations?
Well, I just want to say another quick little positive. Owen Tippett last season had 0 goose eggs, 0 power play goals, in 77 games. In 2 games this season, only Tippett has 1 power play goal.
Positive progression.
Back on track, baby. Back on track. Road
Crazy.
to
I
40
knew where that
goals.
was
Come
going the
on.
moment you mentioned Owen Tippett and power play. Oh my God. Isn't that nuts to think he didn't have a single power play goal last year? And it's hilarious because we make fun of this dude for missing the net so much, but his goal came off of a Konechny missed shot. I think it was intentional that bounced right to Tippett's stick into a half empty net. It's just ironic he scores that way.
Gotta give him credit. He buried it. He buried it.
He did.
So,
He did not hit the plexiglass. Win for Tippett.
big win. Big win.
Let's move on to our final thing. Tocchet line combinations. So first game, it was not good. Well, second to last time. We'll do our game predictions too. But first game, it was not good. Second game, it was better. Eric, let me leave it to you. What's your take on the lines just as a collective whole? And is this how would you change them, if at all, going into games 3 and beyond?
Well, look, game 1, like previously mentioned, I thought the lines were horrible. Even before the game, I just did not understand these line combinations. Having Dvorak and Couturier on the same line is redundant. Having a line like what was it, Zegras, Mishka? No, it was Zegras, Tippett, and TK. For me, lines like that don't work. If you're down by a goal with like 2-3 minutes left, you want to put like a all offense line, whatever, together and hope for the best. No problem. But for a whole game, having 3 guys on the same line that want the puck doesn't work. You need guys that do different things on a line for the line to be cohesive. That's why the Cates lines work so well, because you have 3 guys that do 3 different things that work so well together. So anyway, so I was really happy that yesterday they broke the second game they broke up those 2 lines. I was super happy. Also, plus the 4th line with Abels and Delorier. I'm sorry, like Delorier, he's not a full-time NHLer anymore. It is what it is. Like he made max 20 to 30 games max.
That's being generous.
Yeah, and that's being very generous. I thought was okay. He was fine, but like again, like whatever, veteran guy, probably best suited as a 13th forward. Whatever. But again, the second game again against Carolina, I thought the lines were so much better. Like I said, I thought the Devo line with Zegras again, because like look, Dvorak is the guy that's gonna do all the dirty work on that line. Zegras is your playmaker, Tippett's your shooter. It's I find and I saw it, like I'm telling you, Zegras and Tippett actually had some chemistry. I thought they could have had easily 1 or 2 goals that game, and it's like, but anyway, didn't happen, whatever. But I like the progress. I like what that line could become. So I think that line is solid. I wouldn't change that line right now. Because the only option I would have to changing that line would be maybe putting Grabankin in the Dvorak spot. But that takes away your face-off guy, like an extra face-off guy off that line, which Zegras has in the past 2 games has been better in the face-off dots. So at least it's not so bad. But he's not Dvorak.
Yeah.
The 4th line, honestly, the way it played last night, I wouldn't break that up either. Like with Luchenko, and like look, Luchenko's gonna have to learn on the fly. He's gonna have to learn on the job. And honestly, yeah, look, he made a mistake yesterday. He did. I'm not taking that away from him. He made a big mistake that led to a goal. But that's the process. That's what it's gonna be. He's gonna learn. And look, I just that line together, even with Grabankin, with Hathaway, they were a force-checking demon. That line was just causing a havoc. And I thought at the end of the game, that line, what I liked was that line just kept on getting better and better and better as the game went on. So I was really happy. So then you have the Cates line. That what else can we say? They're great. Again, the big concern is that first line. Now, they weren't played as the first line last game. They were played more like a 3rd line, which understandably so, because look, Cates' line was going. Zegras' line was going. Unfortunately, Couturier's line wasn't going. It's weird. They just weren't meshing. I don't know if it's strictly because Couturier is just not pulling his own. I don't know. But So personally, I would keep this lineup together the way it is the way it played against Carolina. At least give it another couple games. But if that first line, the quote unquote first line of Couturier, Mishkov and TK, if they don't progress, if they don't get better, honestly, the only solution would be to break up that third line.
Yeah.
Because now then you can mix and match better. Because what else can you do? You're not going to elevate anybody from that fourth line because, like I said previously, Luchenko's not ready to be the 1C. Gurbankin's good, but I don't think he's a first line player.
No.
So you're gonna have no choice eventually. If they're not going, you're gonna have to break up. I think that Kate's line just to get the other line going. So yeah, no, that's my opinion on the line so far.
All valid points. I agree with a lot of things. So I want to put zone in on Trevor Zegras for a sec. Have you noticed this guy seems like he has found instant chemistry with almost anyone he's played with? Jamey mentioned a lot how he played with Konechny in the preseason. He found a groove with him. We raved about how much that he has found a groove with Matvei Michkov in the later half of the preseason. And now we're seeing him play well with Tippett. And I had my doubts on that line, as I mentioned earlier in the show, because they're both guys that need to enter the zone with the puck. Now, Zegras is a guy that is more of a puck facilitator, where obviously I said Tippett is a shoot-first guy. So I understand putting those two together. I don't mind keeping the lines together for the short term and see what happens. One thing I want to say, I want to flip-flop Michkov and TK's wings. Michkov played good. I know Michkov's a natural right winger, and I don't know if TK's feels very uncomfortable with the left wing. And we saw in the last 9 games of the year how well things went with Brad Shaw when TK was on the right, Michkov was on the left with that first line. Now, is Couturier going to slow it down? Let's see what happens over the next few games. You make a valid point. 10-game sample size. Let's see how Couturier plays over the next few games and finds his scheme again, or if he continues to struggle. I'd swap those 2 winger spots, move Michkov back to the left for now, and move TK over to the right. Long term, I want to find Michkov eventually back with Zegras. I want to try a line. I wouldn't mind doing Dvorak, Zegras, Michkov again, because I feel like you found something with those 3. Dvorak at least takes the face-off intangibles away from Zegras. It makes him not have to worry about his face-off presence as much, because Dvorak's great in the dot. And then you have Zegras, who is the facilitator who can enter the zone. Michkov, who already is a super genius high IQ player anyway, who's got an electric shot, who Zegras could feed constant apples to. Zegras could probably pick up 50 assists if he constantly plays with Michkov and when Michkov finds his game again. And then Dvorak at least plays a good 2-way game to take away from that. I eventually want, you know what my long-term goal is. I want to see a Forster Zegras Michkov line, especially when Zegras' face-off intangibles get better. But I understand they don't want to break up the third line. But if you have to, maybe you move Cates to that first line and you do maybe a pairing of a Tippett Cates Konechny or something like that. Or Gurbankin Cates Konechny if you want to break up that third line. I feel like this is something that's not going to happen anytime soon. And then if you eventually want to move Forster with a line of Michkov and Zegras, that'd be awesome. Then maybe try, if you do have Gurbankin with Cates and Konechny, maybe you try a Tippett Couturier Brink line. Now, that could be something. Unfortunately, the thing with that is I wonder how Brink and Couturier would mesh. Brink, I feel like, plays a little bit more confident when a guy like Cates who's better at this point of his career than Couturier, who is starting to really hit that potential sharp decline. I hope not yet. Couturier was better last year than 2 years ago, but now we're seeing this start that makes us think the decline is a possibility again. Luchenko, I'm very curious to see what happens there long term. Is he going to earn his way into the NHL, or is it going to be another 9-game sample size and then eventually get sent back down? I wonder if they even play him in the home opener. I really hope they do, because he, at least, like you mentioned, that fourth line was causing some havoc, even with the gap that Luchenko made on one of those goals in the second period. But if you want to give this kid a real chance to succeed, I wonder about maybe even putting him eventually with Tippett. Because Luchenko was a pass-first 2-way guy, where Tippett is a shoot-first mentality. I feel like that would be a really good player to have Luchenko really play with his own Tippett, just based off of his shoot-first mentality. So, and obviously, Luchenko is relatively quick. Tippett is very quick. Imagine the speed you have on that line. A potential Tippett Luchenko brink line. Now, the size aspect of things gets worried. Tippett is a little bit on the bigger side, which is at least something to look at. Brink plays a little bit bigger than his size indicates, but Luchenko is relatively small. So you look at that as well. I'm curious. If I have to say right now, though, I'm just swapping Konechny and Michkov spots. And but at long term, I do want to see Zegras and Michkov together. My lines for tomorrow night, tomorrow night, I'd like to see be Michkov, Couturier, Konechny. For now, we can stick with Dvorak, Zegras, Tippett, and then keep the third line together and keep the fourth line together and just see where it goes. Put Gilbert in for Zamula.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sick of Igor Zamula. Hopefully, Cam York is back and we can take Juleson out. And then you can run pairings of Sanheim, York, Drysdale, Sealer, and maybe you go with Gilbert and that's
probably gonna be Juleson.
Probably.
He's a righty. It's gonna be Juleson.
Yeah, or maybe even Gilbert Ginning or something like that. Then again, they both shoot the same way, don't they?
Yeah, they're both lefties.
Yeah, so you can't really do that. That's the only issue with that. So maybe, and see, that's the thing. I feel like when you have all four of those top four, you're going to have to still, unfortunately, keep one of Juleson or Zamula in the lineup just because Ginning and Gilbert are both right shot defensemen. So, yeah. That's my take with the lines. Eric, do you have anything else to say before we move on to our final topic of predicting the games for next week?
No, I just want to say it's gonna be a tough decision to see who starts against Florida again because they both played so well. I think Luchenko definitely should stay in the lineup. I think other than that one mistake that he made, again, a truly bad mistake. But I think he deserves, him and Grabenkin deserve to stay in the lineup. So yeah, no, that's but yeah, no, also like you said, sorry, I forgot to touch on the defense, but yeah, get Zamula out of there. Get Gilbert into the lineup, please. Please, can we do that? Thank you.
Please, thank you. Amen. All right, let's move on to our predictions for the week. Last week, I believe when I went 0-2, I picked Florida to win and Carolina as a regulation loss. It was technically an overtime loss. So technically I didn't get either of them right. Eric, what did you go?
I was almost right. I was almost right. I said we were losing to Florida and beating Carolina. And technically, for about a split second, maybe about a minute, I was right.
And then nonsense happened.
Then stupidity, NHL bullshit happened, and I was wrong.
Flyers put in a grievance, by the way. I'm all on board. Put in a grievance for that. That goaltender interference was nonsense.
Like, honestly,
what the hell is goaltender interference?
I'm telling you, I said this last year. And it's more and more true. Seeing what happened last night, it's more and more true. If you have a foot in the crease and there is the slightest contact, it will be called goalie interference. You cannot have your feet in the crease anymore. And the thing is, honestly, I'm of the opinion right now where I think goalies are aware of this. And this is why I think what happened last night, where Anderson, you clearly see, threw himself into Sanheim. I think goalies now are like, you know what? If I see that his foot is in the crease, any part of him is in the crease, I will personally make contact. And then knowing that if ever it's scored, if ever there is a goal,
they're gonna wave it off.
It's gonna get turned around anyway. They're not gonna count it because he touched me, even though I initiated the contact. It's not gonna count.
Something needs to be done about that because I know the goalie has the right to protect himself in the crease, but if you're initiating the contact, it shouldn't matter. It's a dog shit. It's even if it is technically called correctly, it's a dog shit rule. And even if he didn't make contact, that was going to be a goal regardless because he was so out of position.
Yeah, he was out.
The puck was pretty much poke checked right into Brink's stick, and he had about 90% of the net still wide open to shoot at before he buried a tap. So that's the issue with this.
Hmm.
Why he was going in even if Sanheim didn't bump into him. That's the most aggravating part about this. But whatever. NHL BS continues. Let's go on to the game, shall we? 3 home games, starting with the home opener against Florida, then Thursday against Winnipeg, Saturday, I believe, against Minnesota. Eric, lead us off. What do we have for a record prediction?
I'm going super bold right now because, again, like I said, from all the positive that I saw, especially that Carolina game, okay? And again, if he keeps the lines the same and that Couturier line figures it out, I think we actually have a shot to go 3-0 this week. I think we beat Florida, we beat Winnipeg, and we beat Minnesota. What the actual scores will be, I don't know. Like, I think they'll be all kind of close games because we are playing some good teams. But I know I think the Flyers will go 3-0 this week.
Wow.
Yeah.
What have you been smoking? I'd like some.
One strand is called La Cerise sur mon fun day.
Don't you love our positive Montreal director we have?
Yes. You're very positive.
All right, let me make my predictions. I technically went 0-2 last week, unless if you want to count the OT loss, and I would have been 1-1, but I'm going to say 0-2 because I didn't call it to a T. I'm going to say they win their home opener against Florida in a higher scoring game. I'm going to say 5-4. They get mollywopped by Winnipeg after we get some feel-good moments and lose 6-1. And then they come out and eke out an overtime win against Minnesota 3-2. I'll say a 2-1 week. That is my predictions for this week. So, Eric, you went 1-1 last week. I went 0-2. I think Jamey.
I was 0-2.
I
picked a win.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we both went 0-2.
Yeah.
I think Jamey predicted us go 1-1. He predicted the Florida loss. Didn't you predict they were going to lose to Florida?
I said Florida loss and Carolina win.
You won that because you predicted.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Yeah, what am I saying? Yeah.
So you're 1-1.
Right.
I'm 0-2. Jamey, I think, predicted a loss to Florida. No, he predicted a win.
No, I think he said a win against Florida.
So I think he's 0-2 as well. I'll try to get Jamey's predictions in the chat and just write it on the Flyera podcast Twitter just so we have that for validation. So he's predicting a 3-0 week. I'm predicting win to Florida, loss to Winnipeg, win to Minnesota. And I'll get us Jamey's predictions after to keep up with this. Jamey also, I believe, went – where did he go? 0-2? Like, I think he went 0-2. I think he picked Florida, win, Carolina, loss. But I'll double-check just to be sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this week. Hope you all enjoyed our stuff. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Tune in to our Don't Puck With Media channel where we have our Flyers, Bruins, and Canadians podcasts. We have our league-wide one, Pucking Around podcast. Also, check out our live stream we had from a few weeks ago where we got to interview the great, amazing Flyers commentator, Jim Jackson. It is in the QR code on the top left corner. Just give that a click. It'll direct you right to that live stream interview we had with him. He was a blast. We had almost an hour and a half of contact with him. Hopefully we can get him on again at some point this year, maybe during the February break, because we know JJ is a very busy man. But with all that being said, that's going to wrap things up. Thank you all for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. We talk about next week's games and whatever else happened throughout the week. But as always, enjoy, have a good day, and let's go Flyers.